Hey guys, so today we're going to be making some Christmas cake pop things. They're going to look like Christmas trees in the end. So what you're going to need for these is 100 grams of butter, 100 grams of caster sugar, about a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 eggs, 100 grams of self-raising flour, about 3 tablespoons of cocoa, and about 3 tablespoons of milk as well. I've got my mixing bowl. I'm going to do it with a wooden spoon today, and I've got a sieve. What I've also done is I've preheated the oven to 180 degrees, and I've greased and lined just one standard 8-inch cake tin. You can do it with a hand mixer, it will be much easier. You can do it with a big mixer if you've got a big mixer, but I'm just going to do it with the wooden spoon because I know everyone will have that. So into the mixing bowl we're going to put the 100 grams of butter, and I'm just going to squish it about for a bit, just to kind of get it going, because this is the bit that needs a bit of arm work. And then straight into that I'm going to put the caster sugar, and we're going to basically mix this together until it becomes really pale and like fluffy and light, so it won't look like butter anymore. You really go at it. Okay, so I've brought it together, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the vanilla extract in, and that'll just loosen it up a bit. So hopefully it should become a bit easier to mix. Okay, so what I've got now is it's a bit paler. I mean, it's a bit darker because I put the vanilla in, but what it is much smoother than butter. It's not as tough as butter. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the eggs in one at a time. So I'm just going to crack them on the side of a bowl, and then break them apart. Okay. I told you to do it one at a time, and then we're going to mix that egg in. And I'm going to go in with our second egg. Okay, so now that is all just a runny mix. What we're going to do is we're going to sift in the flour and the cocoa together. So put the spoon to one side, sieve on. So this is 100 grams of self-raising and the 3 tablespoons of cocoa. And we're just sieving that in so there's no lumps. So now that's in, and what we're going to do, we're going to be really careful here. We're going to do what's called folding it in. So we're going to take the spoon and we're going to fold it over. You don't want to mix too hard because you'll get rid of all the air that you've just made. So you're going to just fold it over until it becomes the cake batter. So go in figure of 8s. And it will come together. Okay, so now we've got a mixture that looks a bit like that, looks like chocolate cake batter. We're going to go in with our milk. I'm just going to do half of it for now, because we're just going to see what consistency it is, but it's a bit thick at the moment, so with the milk will help loosen that up. And again, just folding it in, we're not going too rough with it, because you don't want to get rid of all the air that you've made. I am going to use all of the milk. Okay, so we've got a cake batter there. I'm going to take our tin and we're going to spoon it all into that tin. Make sure we get all of it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just spread it to the edges of the tin. Okay, so now we have our cake there. I'm going to put this in the oven for about 10 minutes and then check on it, and I'll let you know how long this one was in the oven for. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes. It took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to take. And the cake is now completely cooked, but it's very, very hot. So when you're taking it out of the oven, you need to ask an adult to help you. And then what we're going to do is put it on a cooling rack, and we're just going to let it completely cool. Okay, so my cake is now completely cool. It didn't rise as much as I wanted it to, but it'll still be okay. It'll still taste really nice. What I've got now is the decorations for it. So I've got some Smarties. I've got 8 candy canes. A couple of them are broken, but it's fine. We'll still use them. And then what I did was I put some icing sugar with a tiny, tiny bit of water to make some icing, and I put some food colouring in it, so it's red for Christmas. So what I've got as well is a chopping board and a knife. You can do this with a normal knife. I've just got this big one today. If you are using a big knife, please ask an adult to help you. And then I've got a plate to put the cake on when it's done. So I'm just going to put it on the chopping board. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to chop it straight down the middle. So we've got 2 halves. Okay, so like that. And then I'm going to chop each of these halves in half again. So we'll end up with 4. Like that, and then I'm going to chop each of these halves in half again, so we've got 8. So just like you were making slices of cake, like you'd cook for yourself. So now we have our 8 slices of cake. What we're going to do is we're going to put a candy cane and stick it through, so it'll look like that. So that's how you're going to eat it. Okay, so now we've got that, so we can actually pick all of these up. What we're going to do now is decorate them to look a bit like Christmas trees. So I'm going to take my icing and I'm going to drizzle it across them. And do whatever design you want. You can play with this, you can use different coloured icing if you've got different coloured food colours. And I'm just going to try and make it look a bit like tinsel, which is not going to go as well as I know it is, I think it is. Just going to go over. Oh. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we've got our Smarties, and these are going to be our baubles. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick them to the icing. If they're not sticking and you need a bit more icing, then just dab a little bit more on. But they should stick quite easily. And again, if you don't have Smarties, you can use anything. You could use M&Ms, you could use literally anything that you want to use. Any sweets that you want to use, you could use chocolate. It's completely up to you. Last couple of Smarties. So our cake pops are done. What I did was nearly fell. I dusted them with a bit of icing sugar so that they look a bit more Christmassy. But that's what they're going to look like. If you have any other decorations, it will look really good if you put quite a lot of decoration on there. I only had Smarties, so I just used that. If you had those edible silver balls or stars or anything like that, it'd look really good. But yeah, so it's really good. Remember, because there is a candy cane stuck all the way through, don't go mental and go, because you'll break your teeth. Just remember that the candy... My Smarties. Remember the candy cane's in there, so and it is quite hard. If you do make these, please send us photos to seb.walker@threecirclesfostering.com or charlotte.andrew@threecirclesfostering.com. I know Christmas is going to be a bit different this year, but I hope you have a really, really good time. Maybe take this time to relax a bit. It's been a weird year. Yeah, so Merry Christmas from everyone at 3 Circles.